A publicly listed company, AGCO, just announced that they hold almost 300 million Worldcoin tokens. That's 8% of the supply, and people are getting excited. The Worldcoin price is outperforming. The question is, how much longer? Let's have a look at the on-chain data. Let's see who's buying and selling here. Let's try to figure out how much more upside potential there might be for WLD. So here's the news. Sam Altman's Worldcoin extends rally after AGCO reveals 8.4% stake. That then led to a price development like this. The question though is, very long-term, Worldcoin had a quite hard time. The asset made similar rallies in the past just to then come back down again. And the reason why it came down was tokenomics, as in new tokens hit the market over time and that selling pressure cannot meet adequate demand. Here are the numbers. 1 year from now, we will have 31% more Worldcoin tokens. 2 years from now, there's another 24% growth. So the growth rate slows down, but an additional 31% in 1 year is quite high. Maybe there's an opportunity here. Hi, my name is Gerhard. I've been in the crypto space for the last 8 years. I hit my first million 3 years ago, and I did this mainly through active trading of altcoins. My track record is in the link down below. There's a dedicated track record website, and I've recently run the numbers to actually get the compounded return over the last 2 years. That's when I started to publish my trades in real time. We are at 47% APR. And here's the data. This here is the chart. This here is the currently open positions. And on average, I made 5% per trade. It's 179 trades over the year, with each trade being held a bit under a month. So feel free to check this out. This is the way the annual return was calculated. Let me zoom in a little bit that you can have a look. But this video is not about my track record. This video is about Worldcoin. I just want to show this to be transparent. I don't think that most people in crypto are willing to share their data like this. By the way, this website updates in real time. So if you see a different number once you visit the page, that's just because the currently open trades move in real time. Now it seems like Worldcoin can recover, as in the total value locked, the capital that's on the world chain, is going up. We bottomed at 230 million. That now went up all the way to 550 million. That's all of the capital on the world chain. If we just look at the capital in decentralized finance on that chain, it's a small fraction of that. It's only 39 million. Now let's measure this in WLD. So the total value locked measured in Worldcoin tokens are currently used for decentralized finance. We do see a slight increase over time. There is a bit of growth, but the question is that enough growth given the inflation numbers? There's a lot of controversy around Sam Altman, that co-founded Worldcoin, that's also the founder of OpenAI. And some people just ignore that controversy and call WLD the most undervalued cryptocurrency in the space. But undervalued relative to what? Feel free to check out this video by Wall Street Millennial. In general, his content is very interesting. He shows how much Worldcoin is actually getting used, and he actively advises against scanning your iris to get some free WLD tokens. So I don't agree with everybody on X or on Twitter. But if you are on the platform, then feel free to also follow this channel over here. I publish various data points on cryptocurrency regularly over there. Make sure that you follow the right account though. So this is @BitcoinStrat. Do not follow a fake account, please. Just follow this one. That's the official account. Now, to find out where a particular altcoin is headed from here, I always like to look at relative valuations. How is an altcoin performing relative to Bitcoin, for example? How is it performing relative to the rest of the altcoin market? Why do we want to look at that relative valuation? It's because of all of that correlation within crypto. So when Bitcoin goes up, when Ethereum goes up, most altcoins go up with it, and vice versa. So really, when we invest in an altcoin, we need to get outperformance. We take on more risk. We've got opportunity cost. So instead of buying Bitcoin, we buy, for example, Worldcoin. Does that additional risk get compensated? What's the idiosyncratic movement of an altcoin? Does it outperform or does it underperform Bitcoin or the general altcoin market? Let's start off with the general altcoin market. And here we've got the Worldcoin price relative to the others market cap. The others market cap is the market cap of all cryptocurrencies that are not in the top 10. And yes, the long-term trend does not look pretty. And yes, with this current rally, the Worldcoin price looks extremely elevated. There is a chance this rally continues and WLD could almost double from here, but historically it tended to turn around at similar price levels. Now that's relative to the altcoin market. Here is the same chart relative to Bitcoin. And in the end, those are just lines in the sand. We can't for surely know that we're going to turn around here. We might even be breaking out. But when a long-term trend looks like this, and when we compare top to top over the course of 2.5 years with an underperformance of 94%, I think it's better to rather error on the side of betting on falling prices than betting on rising prices. So that's in general my approach with any altcoin trading. I look at what's the general trend, and then I always want to enter trades that are in alignment with that long-term trend. In other words, if we are in a bull market, we want to always buy the bottoms. We want to buy the dips. When we are in a bear market, we always want to short the tops. We want to short the pumps. When a cryptocurrency goes down long-term, we should be shorting it when it recently went up. When a cryptocurrency goes up long-term, we should be buying it when it just dipped. Now, Worldcoin long-term goes down. So instead of trying to pick the bottoms, which can be very dangerous, right? We could have bought, for example, over here. And then instead of bouncing directly, the price just goes sideways for a while. And it's very hard to find the right exit. Instead of doing that, I think it's better to find entry opportunities when we are comparatively low. And then just wait until we are back at the higher price again and then enter again. I'm not buying against the general macro trend. I'm not doing this kind of trade. That's very dangerous because time is against us. Time is not on our side. If we don't time a short on an asset like Worldcoin properly, it's fine because long term we're probably going to get bailed out because of the token inflation, because of the long-term underperformance. But if we are catching a falling knife, hoping for a recovery, and then that recovery doesn't come as violent, then the time is against us and the price will come down. Now we can see with the recent recovery that there is more social engagement. This comes from LunarCrush. We also see how the number of mentions in social media is rising. The number of creators talking about Worldcoin is going up. Yet the sentiment is not that positive. As in, people that talk about Worldcoin in their analyses tend to be slightly less optimistic than they used to be 1 year ago. Now let's have a look at the on-chain data on the Ethereum chain. How many wallets hold a particular minimum threshold of Worldcoin? On the left, we've got the retail investor, so that's at least 2,000 tokens, which is roughly $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, it's 20,000 tokens. On the right, it's 200,000 tokens. We can see how all wallet cohorts tend to go up, as in there is accumulation across the board. The least consistent of the graphs, however, is the whales. So the whales are getting more cautious than the retail investors. Short term though, those quick pumps, they tend to get generated through the perpetual futures market, so through leveraged bets on the price. That's what we can see in the trading volume as well. In the last 24 hours, we had 290 million worth of trading volume on the spot market, but on the perpetual futures market, we had 800 million. So more trading happens on the levered bets. And we can see how many people are getting burned. Just have a look at the liquidations. It went up massively. And here's the amount of leverage in the asset. So how much open interest is there? How many short-term bets are currently on the price? Why does this matter? It matters because if you buy Worldcoin on a perpetual futures exchange, say with 10x leverage, then there will be arbitrage bots that trade on the spot market as well. So a lot of open interest means a lot of people betting on the price short term. That means those kinds of bets are likely going to go away at some point. There's going to be a reduction in leverage at some point. The attention will move to the next asset. That's why open interest, so in green, is so highly correlated with the price. When open interest is high, the price is high. When the leverage and the open interest goes down, the price tends to follow. And currently we are at rather elevated levels. Not at the historical all-time high at 800 million, but we are approaching the 600 million. And that's all happening while the volatility of Worldcoin is relatively stable. So the price is at the top, the volatility of Worldcoin is at the bottom. I would not be surprised if we saw a secondary short squeeze. So the price shooting up very quickly to then come back down again. Because usually during pumps and dumps like this, we also see the volatility spike. For example here, right, on the 5th of June, the volatility went comparatively high and that was the turnaround point. As usual, I like to run simulations of buying and selling a token, trying to find the best trading rule. And historically for Worldcoin, that was the moving average cross over here, meaning the 2-day moving average has to cross the the 46-day moving average. That's historically what worked the best. Currently, we are way above that moving average. So shorting WorldCoin today is probably dangerous, despite those strong resistance lines. But again, we've got the risk that open interest could go slightly higher. And that could mean an appreciation of the price of up to 90% relative to the rest of the altcoin market. It is not certain that we're going to turn around from here. There's a good chance we rally a bit further and then turn around from that higher endpoint. And that appreciation will likely come very quickly and push up the volatility. And so that's my plan with WorldCoin. I wait until the volatility dies down. By the way, if you want to follow my trades, feel free to check out the link down below. Every single trade is logged in real time over here and it can be verified. For example, over here, when we shorted the Trump token and then closed it, you just click over here on those dates and then you get the Telegram messages. This is when we opened our short, in this case of Trump. That was also after a short squeeze. We just compared the price development to the prior short squeeze, a very similar setup to the one we currently have in WorldCoin. And then subsequently, we closed the position that was at the end of the year when we finished that copy trading batch last year. So there's the manual trading. There's also the automatic copy trading, and that achieved last year 44% annualized. We are currently on track to do the same. So yeah, more details are down below. There's also a 7-day money back guarantee. In case you don't like premium, just message me within the first 7 days. I'll refund you, no questions asked. Very long term, I do believe that WorldCoin will sell off from the current level again, simply because of the token inflation. That being said, the current momentum is still healthy. The backtest says that we don't have to turn around right now, and that potentially open interest or short-term leverage could expand further. So betting on a falling price right now, I think, is potentially too early. Buying WorldCoin is probably also not the best idea, again, because it long-term goes down. My plan is to wait until the momentum fades, until nobody talks about WorldCoin again, and then enter a short position, then bet on falling prices. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. Helps the channel grow. See you next time here on YouTube or see you on Premium. Link to that pops up here on the screen. See you next time. Cheers.